Navy SEALs, a highly trained and lethal force of the Navy, and the most feared group of teams on the planet. You've definitely heard of them. However, how much do you really know about this covert group? Find out today on Red, White, and Doodle. Welcome back to Red, White, and Doodle, the only show on YouTube dedicated to giving you the inside scoop on special operations in an animated format. Today, we will be focusing on Navy SEALs. SEAL stands for Sea, Air, and Land. It is where and how they operate. Navy SEALs' roots begin in war. World War II. Considering that America was doing much of its fighting on two fronts across two oceans, amphibious landings were often needed for getting troops to the battlefield. The enemy would often lay obstacles to prevent the transport of troops and materials, and this is where the SEALs' predecessors come in. Teams were needed to remove these obstacles by simply setting charges and blowing them up. The sailors would swim in ahead of Marines and soldiers in order to clear the way. One of the most notable examples is that of D-Day. The teams were needed to remove obstacles such as barbed wire and hedgehogs. The landings of the coast were highly successful, thanks to a man named Draper Kaufman. Years before the U.S. had engaged in war, Kaufman was already in London. With the Germans killing hundreds a day by dropping bombs, volunteers were called upon to help dispose of these dangerous weapons of warfare. Kaufman soon became a master of explosives ordnance, which landed him a transfer from the British Navy back to the American Navy. He would soon be put to work. Just days after Kaufman returned, the U.S. was attacked. Kaufman was ordered to dismantle an unexploded 500-pound bomb in Pearl Harbor. For doing so, he was awarded the Navy Cross. Kaufman's valor proved to the Navy that he could lead a new kind of team on a very important mission, clearing the Nazi-held coast. He was ordered to lead the Naval Combat Demolition Units, the First Frogmen. Early morning, June 6, 1944. Many people were unaware that before the first soldiers and Marines' boots ever hit the sand, the NCDUs were already on Normandy. They worked clearing out hedgehogs, spikes, and Belgian gates. Despite having a 52% casualty rate, the landings were a success. It is also important to note the Pacific theater. The U.S. used the strategy of hopping from island to island to take back the Pacific. However, the coral reefs posed a large threat for these plans. Ships would come across these and believe them to be land, only for Marines to hop out and ultimately drown miles from shore. This is where the UDT came in. They worked to blow up these natural barricades underwater in hopes to get troops to shore. Once again, it was a success. They were dubbed the Naked Warriors for their barely armed stature. They would swim ahead before nearly every maritime raid. Flash forward to 14 days before Kennedy's inauguration. The Soviet Union had just announced that it would begin a country-liberating conquest to spread communism. In response to this, Kennedy announced the need for increased special warfare capabilities. His answer? The Navy SEALs. Although the underwater demolition teams could proceed with their mission, every man on the SEAL teams were selected from the UDTs. The newly formed SEALs' first mission would be Vietnam. The first teams in Vietnam would not operate, they would learn and advise. Guerrilla warfare was a major aspect in fighting in Southeast Asia, and the Kennedy admin was worried. So they devised a plan to partner the CIA and the SEALs to work together in covert operations behind North Vietnamese lines, capturing and killing high-ranking NC leaders. This new type of fighting proved instrumental in the overall success of the SEALs in Vietnam. After the war, the SEALs continued to grow and improve their power. SEALs have been highly involved in the Gulf War, as well as fighting in the Middle East. Although some of their tactics may have changed to fit the war will never change the fact that Navy SEALs are and will always be the most feared fighting force on the planet. Hoo-yah! Thank you so much for watching. This episode has definitely been exciting to work on, as it is the first episode in this series. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy the content we produce here. Stick around for an upcoming episode focusing on the U.S. Army Rangers.